Clemson defensive tackle BRYAN is one of those players that you look at him and you say, wow, the talent is there. Way back in the day, by the way, he committed to Clemson right here on CBS Sports HQ. And when you look at BRYAN, he hasn't lived up to the expectations. Why? Injuries. There's been some injuries for him, and also last year, a tragic situation. And our heart goes out to him and his family when he lost his younger sister and really had a tough time dealing with that. Then he got sick. He hasn't lived up to the hype, but the talent is there. He's got a lightning quick step. He can get up the field. He's one of those guys that probably hasn't played his best football yet. And when you talk to scouts and personnel people, that's exactly what they say. A guy he reminds me of, a guy who played a lot like that when he was in his prime, NDAMUKONG, a guy who can rush the passer and still be able to hold up in the run game. So BRYAN, his best football is in front of him.
Notre Dame edge defender Isaiah Foskey is one of the top edge rushers in this year's draft class. When you look at him back during his time at Notre Dame, he set the career record in sacks, and you can see why. He's got long arms, he's got a nice burst off the football, and he's got the ability to be flexible and dip around the edge. He reminds me a lot of Frank Clark coming out of college, and that would be my comp for him as far as what he's capable of. And after his combine performance, I also think that he could play many roles depending on the type of scheme that he fits in. So any team that drafts Isaiah Foskey should be looking for him to make an immediate impact as a rookie.
Kendre Miller, running back out of TCU. This is another very compactly built running back with very good vision. He has inline quickness. He can make stop-start type cuts. He can make defenders miss in a small area. He does run with a high pad level, but when you see defenders close in on him, he will lower his shoulder and try to get extra yards after contact. He is a very good receiver out of the backfield. He can catch the ball, mostly used on screen, so he's going to have to learn the technical part of the passing game at the next level. I think this guy's going to be a very good number 2 or maybe a 1B for some NFL team. My pro comparison to him is Aaron Jones.
Nick SALDIVERI out of Old Dominion at 6'6", 311 pounds is a very good athlete and a really good offensive tackle prospect coming from that Old Dominion program. I liken his skill set and his athleticism to that of Braden Smith of the Indianapolis Colts. He does a great job in movement for a guy that's 6'6", 311. You consistently seeing him find work or getting work down the field, so he's able to climb to that second level and plays with good leverage and pad level on a consistent basis. Now, in the run game is somewhere where he's going to have to improve. I'm talking about in terms of his hand usage, because a lot of times they get outside the framework of the body, which could yield itself to him getting called for holding penalties and things of that nature. If he improves that, he could be a top flight player that you could find in the mid rounds.
While everybody's focusing on the big round, big 4 quarterbacks that are probably going to go in the top 10 of the draft, there is a lot of value to be found lower, where you could find somebody at a much cheaper rate who could come in and contribute. And even if he's not a starter, could be a really good contributor for the quarterback room. And I'd put Jake Haener out of Fresno State in this quarterback. Started off at Washington, transferred to Fresno State, then almost transferred back, but said, no, I want to stick to what I started and finish out strong, and he did that for the Bulldogs, finishing his career with 68 touchdowns and only 18 interceptions and completed 72% of his passes as a senior. He's a high IQ guy. He's tough, battling through injury to knock off UCLA from the Pac-12, and I think he's got what it takes to play a long time in the NFL, and a guy that his teammates would love, much like Mike White of the Jets. We saw his teammates react to him. I could see a similar career arc for Jake Haener to what's happened with Mike White in the NFL.
Jordan Howden, safety out of Minnesota, and his comp, JERRON Wilson. At the Combine, he measured 5'11", 206 pounds, and blazed a 4.49 40, which immediately gets your attention. But the tape is pretty good too. Howden can line up all over the defense. He split time in the slot, at deep safety, and even in the box. But the biggest question facing him is, where does he play in the NFL? He was a chess piece for the Gophers, moving all over the field. One play you'll see him in tight man coverage from the slot, and the next he'll be in center field, coming downhill with purpose to run through the ball carrier. Which leads me to this. Howden's a solid tackler, both in space and near the line of scrimmage, because he missed just 2 tackles in the entire 2022 season.
The Wake Forest offense has become one of the most prolific in recent years, and it requires there to be good wide receivers on the outside who can win one-on-one battles, and that's exactly what you have in A.T. Perry. It was a great opportunity for the Demon Deacons to get Perry because he was a little bit underrated coming out of high school and a little bit of an overlooked talent at the wide receiver position. But his hands and his ability to win those one-on-one battles is too strong to ignore, and that's why an NFL team is going to look at him and that incredible production that he had at the college level and want to bring him on board. Because of what he's able to do on the outside, because of what he's able to do in one-on-one battles, that's why we've got him comped with New England Patriots wide receiver Devontae Parker, A.T. Perry, ready to make a splash on Sundays.
Virginia cornerback Anthony Johnson is a very long player that lacks ideal top-end speed. He has been a consistent producer throughout his collegiate career, amassing 7 interceptions. The Louisville transfer has good recovery speed and awareness, so he probably projects to a more zone-heavy scheme at the next level unless a team envisions him moving to safety. Johnson has the length to contest at the catch point, but his high-waisted frame can create problems when defenders cross his face across the field. He could find a starting role in the right scheme, but is more likely to serve as depth. We have compared him to current Lions cornerback Ifeatu Melifonwu.
Jerron Cage, defensive tackle, Ohio State, and his comp, Chad LAVALAIS. A 4-star high school recruit and the number 3 player in the state of Ohio, Cage played 6 seasons for the Buckeyes. He appeared in 12 games last season and had a career best 1.5 sacks, which was half of his career total going back to 2018. While buried on the depth chart at Ohio State, he did earn an All-Star Game invite to both the Hula and Shrine Bowls. He wasn't invited to the Combine, but took part in the Buckeyes Pro Day, where he measured 6'2", was 311 pounds, and had nearly 33-inch arms. His best chance to make an NFL roster will likely come through the practice squad.
Mark Evans II out of Arkansas Pine Bluff at 6'2", 298 pounds, is a shorter offensive lineman. He was playing left tackle at Arkansas Pine Bluff, but at the East-West Shrine Bowl, he kicked down inside and played guard and also center. I see him more as a center because he has great footwork, elite footwork, and does a great job on the move. Reminds me a lot of Rodney Hudson in that regard. That's high praise, but he's a fantastic athlete. Now, where he has to get better, because he has the shorter arms, longer defensive linemen tend to get into his chest first, so he's going to have to find a way to combat that on a more consistent level because that's all he's going to see as an NFL player.
SaRodorick Thompson, running back out of Texas Tech, and his comp, RICO DOWDLE. He's a solid running back who runs hard, but he is limited athletically. Thompson was a late add to the Senior Bowl roster and came in midweek and didn't miss a beat. At 5'11", 213 pounds, he's average by NFL running back standards, and the 4.65 40 he ran at the Texas Tech Pro Day is also pedestrian at best. The fifth-year senior will be 24 years old next fall, but he does have low mileage. He just averaged 10.7 carries per game last season and just 108 carries in each of the last 5 seasons. He does have 91 career receptions, however, including 23 in 2022, where he flashed legit yak ability. Thompson could carve out a role as the number 2 or number 3 back in the league while contributing on special teams.